A warm welcome to the UxbridgeFM Podcast for May. And one of the great things about producing a podcast is there's no time restrictions. We can make it as short or as long as we like. This month, it's a marathon, so pop in your headphones and enjoy. Coming up, the Mayor, Swimming Cups, the allotment, water polo, the business expo, stroking cats, fostering in Hillingdon, and a rundown of some of the upcoming events in the area. If you're listening on YouTube, we've added chapters so you can skip forward to each section. Right, let's get down to it. First up, let's catch up with the Mayor and find out what kind of year she's had. We're joined, I'm going to give you your official title, the Worshipful, the Mayor of Hillingdon, Councillor Becky Hagger. Hello.
Hello.
So, you've been a mayor for a year now. The changeover is next week. How has it been being mayor for the year?
It's been an absolute blessing. It's been amazing. And we've had a very different year.
A different year? Well, I know one of your first events was the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, of course.
So it was a wonderful way to start the mayoral year.
Yeah.
And then from there, we've had in this year 3 Prime Ministers.
Yeah.
We've had the hottest day on record.
Okay.
We've had the sad passing of the Queen.
Yeah.
We've had finishing off now with the coronation.
Yeah.
So it has been an absolutely incredible and different year.
Yeah, there aren't many mayoral years that see all that, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Very historical year.
And have you had time to carry on being a councillor at the same time, or does the mayoral work take up most of the time?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. The mayoral work, especially this year, has taken up probably about 90%. So I managed to do a little bit council work, maybe 10%, but my work colleagues have been incredible covering the ground for me. They really have been amazing support.
And on that, I mean, we get asked by sort of younger people, how do I get into sort of being a councillor? How do I start helping the local community? What's the sort of way into being a councillor?
It's a great question, and I think one of the ways in is it is literally what you've just said. Actually, it's helping the community. And if I turn the clock back to 12 to 13, how I became a councillor, it was literally by that. I really enjoyed serving the community. So working around parks and playgrounds, working with your local councillor, updating equipment, and working with your local councillor will really help pave the way if that's what you want to do, to support people. I
suppose as a mayor, you get to meet such a variety of people and organisations across the borough. There's lots of people who are just unsung heroes, aren't there? They run charities, or they're maybe just serving tea and coffee at a local, cake sale or whatever. How many sort of mayoral visits have you done, roughly, do you think, in the year?
A lot. So we haven't counted, actually, because we haven't had a chance to count. But you usually hit between 800 to 900 a year. Probably a little bit more than that, because obviously we've had the street parties and we've got the street parties again at the end. Yeah. And quite rightly, we have met some absolutely incredible people that have served this community for nearly most of their lives.
And as a mayor, are you able to sort of bring them to the fore and help them and promote them, or is it more of just kind of thanking them?
Oh, both.
Yeah.
Absolutely both. So this year for us has been every mayor has a different outlook on their year or what they want to achieve, aims and objectives. For myself and my consort Marios, our year was all about connecting people, listening to people and bringing people up to the forefront, making sure they're noticed and making sure they're known. So even up to, we had a wonderful lady, she's in her 90s and she's still serving teas and supporting people in Ruislip, and that's incredible. Up to the people that do the Cubs and have taken Cubs and Scouts for like 40 plus years, 50 years.
Yeah.
So it is about both. It's about bringing the encouragement and thanking them for the work they're doing, knowing that it is noticed. It's noticed by the borough. and 2, bringing them up to the forefront as well.
Yeah.
Connecting them with any, if they need support or help, maybe we can connect them with a company that might help them. So loads of different aspects, but a real working year for us. I think that's definitely come up to the forefront.
So averaging, 3 visits a day, I suppose, if you're doing 900 or 800. So, yeah, that's quite a few. Breakfast, lunch and a sort of dinner.
Yes, it is. I mean, it can vary. So we can have shorter visits amalgamated with longer. So we might do 6 in a day, but then we might do 3 because they're longer visits. So we're depending on where we are.
I suppose the street parties, you can do a bit of a tour around the street parties, can't you? If you time it right and the roads aren't closed, you can get through.
That's so true. I think with the street parties this year, especially on Saturday and Sunday, I hope everyone has got their street parties in. So Saturday and Sunday we'll be going around. And yeah, we plan to hopefully spend about 15 minutes at each one. So then we can cover more ground, but also meet everyone at the same time, which is what we want to do. We want to join in their celebrations and be part of it and be encouraging as well for the future ahead.
You can't really be eating cake and sandwiches at every one, I suppose, can you?
No, and in fact, actually, it's we found the opposite because a lot of people have said to us, "Oh, you must be so full at the end of the day," but it's actually the opposite because we're talking to people. It's very difficult to eat and talk, so we tend not to eat. Last year when we were around, we sort of gone the whole day actually without eating because we were talking to everyone. So I'm going to take a little packed lunch with us this year.
Okay. Do you get any funny stories from kids and things? Because I've spoken to previous mayors and kids aren't really sure who you are when they come to their school or whatever. Do you get asked? I
mean, I think children and adults too.
Yeah.
It covers both, actually. But yes, children are amazing and they're so truthful as well. They really come out with the truth. So I think we've had the most comical one is, "Are you a pirate?"
Yeah, with the hat.
With the hat.
Yes.
So that tends to be a comical one. Also, we love it when the children come to the parlour. I'm sure you've heard this before, but they come in and we are very blessed to have the Sikh sword in the parlour.
Yeah.
Which was given to us celebrating the anniversary of Guru Nanak. And it's really interesting what the children think the sword is used for by the mayor. So when we say, "Oh, what do we have the sword in the parlour for?" Beheading is top.
Okay.
So they think I behead. The second one, much nicer than beheading, is knighting. So I might knight some people. And actually they're quite disappointed when they realise that the mayor's role is just a ceremonial role.
Yes.
And actually has no power or authority in it in the sense of making decisions like the leadership role that the leader would. And same with adults, because some adults will come to you and they think you can obviously solve all their problems in one speech. But unfortunately, yes, it is just a ceremonial.
And do you still chair council meetings? Does that happen as a mayor? So you could use the sword then, maybe, I think, if it got a bit rowdy.
Maybe, if it got a bit rowdy. We have the mace in front as well, so it's much bigger.
Other questions that I get asked sometimes, I don't know the answer to this. The mayor's clothing, is it made to measure for each mayor, or is there a sort of standard set of clothes?
Yeah, well, the actual mayor's robes are really expensive.
Yeah.
First of all. And so we could not afford to have one tailor-made. So it's a bit like when you go shopping. We've got small, medium and large.
Oh, right. Okay.
And you have to fit into one of those. So far, every mayor has fitted into either small, medium or large.
And it gets dry cleaned every so often if you go to a muddy event or whatever.
Absolutely.
Do you get anywhere and you think, I've worn shoes here, some fate or something?
Yeah, I have. I've learnt now over the year, it's sort of the hot tips for becoming a mayor is that you have a spare pair of shoes in the parlour or in the car, the trainers, the glitzy trainers. So I've got my glitzy trainers, I've got my medium shoes and then my stiletto shoes and then my wellies. So it's the hot tip is to have all of them accessible.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're going.
And how's it been going for your two charities, the Daniel Logan Foundation and the Magically Marvellous Picture House?
Brilliantly. Both of them have really had an amazing encouragement. I think that's been the biggest thing from the mayor's year. So being supported by the mayor really has encouraged their growth. their ability to make contacts, and of course just joining in on everything that we're doing. It's really lifted both the charities into the limelight, both of them in many ways. The Magical Marvellous Picture House, going to see different companies and different communities has enabled us to share the work that they do. So now they're accessing care homes, doing dementia workshops with the cameras and the albums. They're accessing the colleges, they're accessing the universities. So it's been a huge intake for them. And the same with the Danielle Logan Foundation. We've managed to work with them over the hospitals, giving them a really good network within the new Hillingdon Hospital, and working with the CEO there, to working with our SEN, to working within the community.
So when the changeover happens, what's the ceremony to change the mayor and bring in the new deputy mayor? And we know who the deputy mayor is, but it's obviously not confirmed that they will be mayor until the actual ceremony has taken place. But what's the actual process? So
it's the same as a council meeting. So I'll come in as chair of the meeting, as mayor. The wonderful service, actually. It's a wonderful ceremonial part, which is always historical. It's really good. I'll start off the beginning of the meeting, just talking about the year, my year, and thanking my consorts and my escorts, my two girls and my husband, for being and taking their time for the year. And then it becomes time of voting. So put it forward, as you would do if you were voting for any chairman or vice chair. The name of the deputy mayor will go forward, and there'll be a voting system. And normally he's voted in, and then we go back and we change. So that's where the ceremonial historical part is. So we come out of the council chambers back into the mayor's office. We will derobe. So I will derobe and have a black robe. And he will then take on the mayoral robe. And it is amazing. It's such a lovely ceremony. It really is.
And there's the mace you spoke about before. What's the history of that, or the reason for the mace?
Yeah, so the mace goes back absolutely centuries. Years and years ago, it would have been used as a weapon. So when the mayor was obviously going down the high street, the mayor would have been the leader of the council, would have been very important, probably would have been a judge, magistrate. He would have had quite a lot of power at the time. And that would have caused controversy with some people. So the mace was used to ward people off. Nowadays, it's more ceremonial. So it states the fact that the first citizen of the borough is coming in. This is the mace. It's placed first. It's a representation of the king, was the queen and the king now. And it will have that ceremonial civic duties. When any royal member comes in to the borough, the mace has to be carried downwards because they take authority.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I love all those little rules like that.
Because they're historical, it's so beautiful to put them into practice. And they do go back from centuries. So the first citizen of the borough, the mace will always obviously be upright with the head at the top and the tail. That leads, so that has to go in first. And then the mayor, that's placed at the front. I will bow, everyone will bow to the mace that comes in, placed on front. The council meeting can start.
Wow.
And the council meeting cannot stop until the mace has been removed from its hold.
Okay, there you go.
Same as Parliament.
Yeah. Now, we're recording this just before the King's coronation, but I gather there's some events going on over the weekend. There's a party in the park. Hopefully it stays dry.
Absolutely. It's the mayor's party in the park. So
you have to go.
Yes, as mayor, we've invited the whole of Hillingdon to come and celebrate with us. Please do. Fastenage Park. Yeah, it's going to be a great event. We've organised Hillingdon Musical Society. There's loads of people that will be coming. Bring a picnic. Hopefully the weather will be good, as you said.
It will, yeah.
And just really connect with the community. Again, it's about that connecting, enjoying ourselves together. So come along. We'd love as many people as we can to come in. Come and say hello. I'll be there. So come and say hello to me. I'll be walking around as well. Get your pictures and let's have a celebration.
And the bandstand's been painted, I've noticed. It's got
it has.
Brand new green roof.
Yes, all ready for the coronation.
So what's your plans in a week's time? You're off on holiday to some foreign, nice hot beach to relax and chill out?
Well, that's lovely. Are you offering?
That's what I'd probably try and do.
I think we said that what we're going to do is just really relax, not on holiday, but just relax at home for the first 2 weeks, just to sort of gather a bit of grounding and to plan our next year ahead. We go back on, so I will personally go back on committees. They'll be decided next week. So I'll be back to my councillor's work and my councillor's role. I'm already working in the charity anyway. So it'll be a bit of taking stock, seeing what's left, and now planning the year ahead. So what goals, what aims do I want and objectives do I want the year ahead to be, and looking at that. And also still supporting our two charities, the Daniel Logan Foundation and the Magical Marvellous Picture House.
And keeping fit, of course. It's always amazing me.
Fit, yes. Actually, definitely. I've managed to keep one of the classes going, well, 2 classes going during the mayoral year, fitness classes that I teach. I'm looking at extending those classes out as obviously after next week and as the year for the future year. I think we've planned some self-defence classes are going to go on and all sorts of different things.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you and good luck with the week ahead as you wind down. Thanks, Becky.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
Now, at the end of last month, we got wind of a story about a piece of history at the swimming pool in Uxbridge, in particular the outdoor Lido. And it revolves around a cup or trophy given to a bonkers swimmer who's first in the pool on the opening day of the season. Anything bonkers, of course, we love here, so Angie Bridges, who's one of the booking coordinators at the pool, joined us to tell us more. Now, we're coming up to the spring, apparently. I mean, it's
at some point.
Not exactly warm, but the Lido is going to open on the 1st of May, Monday the 1st of May, the historic Lido. Do you have a bit of history about that, when it was built roughly?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact date, but it's 30s, because when you look at it, it's very much Art Deco, and it's got those lovely curved edges to the building. I think it's a Grade 2 listed building, and so the old cafeteria is still there, although we use it as a spinning class base now. And you can see it's got the lovely rounded windows, and then we've got 2 very lovely low-level buildings, and there's a beautiful archway, which is the entrance to the complex. And then you look into, as you come through the entrance, you're looking onto a lovely fountain, and then you see the wonderful 50-metre pool. Rather amazing.
And you're one of these bonkers people that does do swimming in the freezing cold Lido.
Yeah, I mean, when we say swimming, it's really very, very short, brief amount of time that I spend in there, because my understanding is that you shouldn't really be in the cold water for more than about a minute per degree. And at the moment, I went to Parliament Hill Fields last week to their Lido, and that was 12 degrees. So I don't think I did more than about 12 minutes.
No.
It is very cold. You go in, and initially, I would say, for me, the first 2-3 minutes are awful. I'm not going to pretend that it's fabulous. It is just dreadful. It feels awful. You're cold. You just wonder why you've done this. And then your body acclimatises, and then you think, wow, actually, this is okay. But then you have to be careful, because at that point, you think you're all right, but you can become hypothermic quite quickly. So you have to be mindful of that and not go over. So when you start to feeling quite good, it's probably time to get out, unless you're wearing a wetsuit, obviously, but I don't.
Now, historically, the first person to get into the Lido in the new season was awarded a cup.
Yeah.
There's this thing called the Fustin.
Well, I think it's the Fustin, and I'm assuming that means like the first in, but in the centre, we do have some lovely old photographs of various times that show the Lido in its many guises throughout the decades. And there is a picture with a guy, apparently, I found this out through doing a little bit of research with somebody locally, who's going to hopefully make me a new Fustin Cup for Monday, if we're lucky. There's a guy called Tubby Harris was the first one, and that was in the 1950s, I think he won it.
Yeah.
We're not entirely sure about the history of that, but I very much hope that I'm going to get in touch with Tubby and another young man who used to play water polo in the pool, and maybe they could come along and tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
The history of it. But yeah.
So the Fustin Cup looks like a bucket.
It looks like a bucket, and it looks like either a spindle off a staircase, a banister, or maybe a leg of a chair.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think many people would want to put it on their sideboard.
Something tells me it may have been constructed at a moment's notice, starting at Heath Robinson.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
I think so, and I think that's probably what we're going to do this time as well.
Oh, great. So, 7 a.m. on the 1st of May, Monday. It's a bank holiday Monday, of course.
Yeah.
Some mad people apparently are already booked in.
We do have people who've paid. Yeah,
Yes.
they've already paid their money and they've booked their ticket. I mean, I might have to go along at 7. I had decided to go in at about 8:30, but now I'm kind of keen to see who is the first person in the pool.
Yeah. Oh, I might join you at 7 a.m. No, I won't. That's insane. Right, we'll put the message out perhaps to the listeners.
Please
I mean,
do.
if
Come
anybody's
along.
heard of the Fustin Cup, maybe you won it at some point. Let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to meet up. We'd love to get a little bit of information about it. So if they do know anything, please do get in touch.
Exactly. Well, thanks for that. And if anybody's mad enough to pop down to the Lido Monday, the 1st of May at 7 a.m, you can perhaps get awarded the Fustin Cup. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
So it's funny how these things happen. Following our chat with Angie, we then got introduced to John Ross, who was able to tell us a bit more about the Lido, water polo, and how he met his wife. Right, in the studio now, we have John Ross, who is Uxbridge born and bred, I guess. Is that right?
Yes, just outside in Cowley.
Now, the reason we've grabbed you into the studio, because you're linked originally with the Hillingdon Sports Centre Lido, the outdoor pool there. Used to swim back in the 50s, going back quite a while.
And to the 40s as well.
40s as well,
Yes.
yeah. Now, the reason this has come to our attention is because the Lido, of course, is now open for the new season. And I didn't know this, but apparently May the 1st, when the Lido opens, there's a little competition called the Fustin Cup, or the First In Cup. And it's awarded to the first person who's mad enough to get into the pool at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
It's very cold, no
7
doubt.
a.m. or earlier.
Or earlier, yeah. And this goes back, we think to, 1937 or something?
37, yes.
You were asked, rather late notice, it has to be said, to produce a replica, which you've done, and I've seen a photograph of it. Tell us a bit about how you made the cup in about 2 days straight, probably.
Yes, well, Stephen, our son, who was friendly with Angela from the swimming club, she asked him if he could make a trophy for the Fustin Cup. Again, we only had about 3 days' notice, so it was a bit of rush and tear. But Angela supplied us with a bucket, which was a champagne bucket, ice bucket, and Stephen and myself, being the fact that we were both tool makers, we were able to put our skills to it, and we made the complete cup. I think the pedestal's off of an old sideboard, and as I say, the handle come off another bucket, and yes, we got there, and also Stephen did the writing, the Fustin Cup, and for the Tuffins.
Now, going back into the 40s and 50s, you used to play water polo there, you were telling me about.
Yes.
I've never seen water polo. Tell us a bit about how that works.
Well, again, it's a competition between two teams, 7 aside, goalkeeper and outfield players, all in the water, etc. Ball you throw to one another. You can only catch it and throw it with one hand, except the goalkeeper. Obviously, he can use 2. And I think, if I remember, it was about 15 minutes each way. The referee used to stand on a pedestal in the middle of the pool, and he'd throw the ball into the middle as we were starting from the outside, and we'd swim in, and the fastest one would pick up, and then the game would commence. A lot of the tackling you probably didn't see because it was underwater, but we won't say too much about that. But you weren't really allowed to push or shove or push people under, because that would be a foul. And obviously sometimes we even got to the fact that if you did a foul too many times, you got sent off for a period of time. Some of the pools were deep one end and shallow the other, which obviously, technically, when you play, you shouldn't have your feet on the ground or on the bottom in a shallow end. So it was a little bit difficult. And also, the goals in the shallow end were a lot bigger because the goalkeeper could stand up on the ground and act as a normal goalkeeper, i.e. a football goalkeeper.
Oh, so literally you were swimming all the time or
Yes.
treading water?
Yes.
I suppose being sent off might be a blessing if it's so cold in the pool. You get to get out and sit on the side for a while.
Yes, but up at Uxbridge was a bit open air, and it was possibly warmer to be in the water.
Okay. So obviously, for those that don't remember, if you've been to the Hillingdon Sports Centre, it's obviously changed a lot since it was originally built. The whole indoor bit wasn't there, was it, in the 50s?
Oh, no.
So it's literally just the outdoor Lido we're talking about, and it's been split since. So the end bit is now a kids' pool. It used to be the whole length, didn't it?
That's right.
So imagine you'd walk in through the archway, you've got the fountain there, and then straight ahead of you is the Lido. You've got changing rooms, I guess.
Yes, down the side you had the changing rooms.
Was there a cafe as well? Can you remember?
Yes, the cafe's always been there. And then you had the veranda out the front where you could watch over the pool at the same time.
Ah.
Yeah.
Can you recall how much it cost to get in those days?
£6 to get in.
Ah.
Yeah. And of course, being a season ticket holder, you didn't have to queue. And you used to get massive queues there. You know, it used to be really long queue, almost up to the Park Road, as it were.
Oh, so it's a popular place in
It
those
was very
days.
popular, yeah.
Did everyone swim, or some people just go in there to hang out? And...
Oh, no, a lot of people just went there for just to have a sunbathe,
Yeah.
sit in the sun, get their feet wet, and away they go. But and of course, we used to practice water polo on a Sunday morning, and that used to upset a few people because the old ball used to fly about, and if you're walking by, well, if you didn't catch it, it hit you somewhere.
And you used to tour around the other pools in the area with your water polo team. So probably pools that aren't there anymore. But where else did you used to go?
Heston, Acton, Ealing, Plastow. Every year, the Uxbridge Swimming Club had a tour to Brighton.
Oh.
And they used to go down there, swimming gala, and you used to have a polo match as well down there as well, as part of the day's enjoyment, as you might say.
Now, you've just shown me a picture, a black and white picture from roughly the 1950s of the water polo team. We managed to name all but one of them, which is great, and one of them, Tubby Harris, Richard Harris, who was a winner of the Fustin Cup.
Yes, twice.
Twice.
Yep.
Now, also in that picture, we've got some other people who, Don Smith, for example, you were telling me he's an Olympic athlete.
Yes, he was in the 52 Helsinki Olympic squad.
The pool was used by the American Olympic team to train.
Yes.
When would that have been?
That would have been 1948. And we obviously, as the youngsters, or then we used to stand and watch, or we'd swim along the side of them while they trained. And if a ball come out off the play, or we'd catch it and throw it back to them. So that's how we got involved. And from then on, I thought, well, this is a fair old game. So I got going and learnt the rules, and away we went.
I imagine it was quite a culture shock for the American Olympic team coming to Uxbridge at the time.
We did, but they were very friendly, very friendly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they encouraged us. They sort of more or less got us in, sort of playing with them, which was good. Yeah.
Would they have eaten from the cafe, do you think, or bring their own food with them?
That I wouldn't like to say. I can't remember.
You got about by motorcycling in those days?
Yes, I started motorcycling when I was, I suppose, in about 1950. I suppose 50. I started 50, and there when I first started work, because most people in those days had motorbikes to start with.
What was your first motorbike? Can you remember?
Yeah, a 250 Red Panther.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I suppose helmets weren't compulsory then, were they?
No.
You just hop on and off you go. There's a funny story about how you met your wife, isn't there? At the
Yes.
pool.
Oh, yes.
Marion.
Yes, Marion, yes. Well, again, motorcycling, we used to go up to the pool, park outside, go in, have our swim, come out, and there we are. But it started happening that when I used to come out, I'd get on the bike and I thought, that's funny, the levers don't work well. And tucked in the levers was flowers. Some flowers all in there, and I thought, blimey, that's strange. And I used to take them out so nobody could see. And then it got round. I think I caught her doing it once, and it's been there ever since. And away we are. And we've still been married now 65 years, I suppose.
That's a very romantic way of
I say.
catching someone's eye, isn't it? Putting flowers in their brake levers of their motorbike. You should try it today, I think. See what happens.
Yeah.
Who needs online dating? It's great to go back in time and catch up with the history in the area. Next up, we're off to catch up with our official Uxbridge FM allotment owner. We're joined live from the allotment. We've got Hardip Singh on the line. He's from Harmondsworth Horticultural Association. Hi, Hardip.
Hi there, Steve.
Now, spring, I think, has finally arrived. What's happening on the allotment for you at the moment?
Yes, that's right, Steve. Finally arrived. And the mark of spring is definitely taking its hold on the allotment. We've got so much blossom on the fruit trees. My apple trees are in full blossom. The fruit bushes, blackcurrants, gooseberries, blueberries, strawberries, all sort of in flower. So it looks like it's going to be a bumper year for fruit. And this really benefits the bees. So we have beehives on the allotment, and as I'm sitting here, I can see they're really active collecting the pollen, the nectar from the flowers and taking it all back into the hives. Other stuff, just sticking with fruit, the rhubarb is doing really well. That's coming up really strong, so we're harvesting that as we go along. And all the brassicas, the stuff that I spoke about at the last podcast, the cabbages and the winter cabbages and the cauliflowers and the kales, all of that is thriving now, and that's growing really well. It's all settled in, the roots have taken hold, and this sort of warm snap that we're having is really beneficial. In terms of salads, I'm sitting next to a lovely tray of lettuce, Lola Blonda, it's called. Beautiful, lovely sort of lush green lettuce, which is one of these ones which you can pick and come again. And I've got Lola Blonda and Lola Rosa. So two lovely types of lettuce, which one's red and one's green. And onions, they're all in now. So the onions which we sowed the seeds back in January now, seems a long time ago, they're all up, they're all strong, they're all being transplanted out into the ground because onions are quite hardy. Flowers-wise, we're looking at lavender really flourishing. And then we've got some other flowers, cosmos, which is all not ready to put out yet, but that's all being grown in the greenhouse. So all the seedlings are thriving with this heat. In the greenhouse, there's lots going on. The grapevine, which we have, is now beginning to flourish, and you can see some really green shoots coming out. So hopefully this year we'll have some lovely, fresh, juicy grapes. So there's a lot going on, a lot of activity. I'm waiting for the weeds to come out. They seem to be a bit slow this year, but normally the next time you speak to me, I'll be moaning about weeds and the immense effort that we have to put into just keeping the weeds down.
And are you still having your visits from Mind and the partnership you have with them?
Yeah, so this time of year that all picks up. So we've got the Hillingdon Mind group, who are coming down now and working on their beds. We've also got the brain tumour group from Hillingdon. That's a brain tumour injury group, and they come down every Wednesday. And they do a terrific job in keeping their beds, and they've now got a lovely greenhouse, which they're starting things off really early. And they really enjoy the horticulture. It's really therapeutic, very calming, and they blend in so well with everybody else on the allotment.
Now, we've got a plant sale coming up, I hear, as well.
Yes, so I think it's our 4th annual plant sale, and that's at the moment planned for the 4th of June, which is a Sunday. And our plant sale starts normally around midday, and that goes on for a couple of hours. And that's taking place in the wonderful barn, the Great Barn in Harmondsworth, built in 1426, Grade 1 listed building. So if you're not interested in plants, come and have a look at the building. It's beautiful. 600 years, absolutely astonishing building to have in the lovely village of Harmondsworth. Now come down, we've got some great plants we're growing this year. We've got a whole range of herbs and salads and really unusual vegetables which you can't sort of buy in the garden centres. But I went into the garden centre the other day and I see the prices have shot up of plants, and we always sell ours at a really reasonable price, and everything is hand grown with quality seeds. So what you're getting is a real quality plant that will take you through summer and give you some really lovely food on your dinner plate or lovely flowers to brush by as you put them in your garden.
Is it best to arrive early for the plant sales?
It is, yeah. And we've got our Instagram site and a Twitter account, and we will put everything up on that so all listeners can come and join us. If not for planting, to have a cup of tea. We normally have some live music, a bit of community fun. It's just a good excuse to bring people together, really. And we like that in Harmondsworth.
Well, thanks, Hardip. You have the ideal job, I think, on a nice sunny day in the allotment, digging away, growing your own food. Sounds idyllic.
It is. Very relaxing. Hard work, but relaxing.
Yeah. And keep an eye on the Twitter, which is Harmondsworth Horticultural Association, and the Instagram for more details on the plant sales. Thanks, Hardip. Thanks for joining us. And back to the digging now, I guess.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve.
If you're a local business owner, I'm sure you know about the annual Hillingdon Business Expo. But in case you don't, let's find out more about it. Right, so we're joined in the studio by Andy Sharma, who is the chairman of the Hillingdon Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Andy.
Hello, Steve. Good to be here.
Now, we're chatting about the upcoming Hillingdon Expo, which is the 25th of May. Put it in your diary now. What's happening at the Expo, Andy?
Well, Steve, if you've been to Expo, you know what you can expect. But a lot of people who would be visiting it for the first time, I think it's one of the biggest free business-to-business event in West London. And we are expecting to have about 100 local businesses exhibiting their products, their services, what they do for the local economy. And we would have about 1,500 to 2,000 people visiting on the day. So I think it'll be a great day to find out what is happening in your local community, plug into, the activities, obviously be part of the ecosystem to take things forward.
And emphasising that it is free, so no excuses to not attend. And it's a bigger venue this year as well, isn't it, than last year, which gives a lot more potential to have more stands and more stuff going on, I guess.
Yes, we are funded by our sponsors, so we would like to keep it free for as long as possible. So it's absolutely free to attend. If you're just visiting as a visitor, I think it'll be a good opportunity for you to have a day out and see what the career opportunities may be, because we will have some exhibitors who may look at opportunities to recruit locally. So that's again an opportunity for you to find out more about those options.
And also you get a free lunch as well, which is fantastic.
Yes. How can we forget? So we've got free barbecue lunch. So it'll be a nice spread this year because of the sustainability focus. We are keeping it all vegetarian. We will have free barbecue lunch. We will have lots of entertainment there. Some networking workshops. So we've got speed networking there. We will have some business workshops, something like how to get your 60-second pitch right, how to look at working with the institutions like Brunel to get to work with some students in your organization. And in the end, we have the drinks reception in the evening. So we will wrap up with a nice drinks reception. And all of it is sponsored by other businesses within the borough. For people who are visiting or people who are exhibiting, it's free for all of them.
So put it in your diary, 25th of May. All the details are online at hillingdonexpo.co.uk. And while we're here, we should mention joining the Hillingdon Chamber of Commerce, shouldn't we, as well? Because if you're a local business and you're not a member, you're missing out. Single membership's as cheap as £95. So tell us more about that, Andy. What can you get by joining the Chamber of Commerce?
Chamber is a membership organization, and collectively we can make a huge difference to how businesses prosper within the borough. We can also look at creating job opportunities for people residing in the borough, and overall, it'll improve the living standards or the standards within the borough. So if you're not a member of the chamber, I think it's a no-brainer. We've revised our membership packages, and they start for as low as £95 per year, which is less than £10 a month if you take that into account. And what you get in return is access to all the events, networking events, so you get to meet all the people within the borough. You also get access to employee assistance program. You get access to the business support, which is accessible through our website. We also facilitate create interaction with other people that you may want to do business with. So you can be part of our membership directory, and you can have access to the other members' contact details if you want to reach out to people. On top of all of that, Hillingdon Expo is a great event to be, in. And if you're a member, you get priority over other people to get to exhibit and be able to access the network and showcase your products or services. We're looking at giving access to legal helpline, HR helpline, any small business would benefit from. And we're also looking at creating opportunities for members to be able to feed into the policies or the other things that affect businesses, as to shape the policies of the future, and also be part of some thought leadership discussions in future.
Online, you can go to hillingdonchamber.co.uk for more information on the chamber. Thanks, Andy, for coming in and telling us about the Expo and the Hillingdon Chamber. It's fantastic.
Pleasure, Steve. It was really good to speak with you. And looking forward to seeing you at the Expo, 25th of May.
Of course, it's in my diary. And we're staying with local business next. We love hearing about one-off niche local businesses. This one is a great example. Here in the studio, Sophie Goffin. And first of all, tell us a bit about what your business is, but not the name at this point, just what it is.
I'm a professional cat cuddler. I run a personal assistant service.
And go on then, tell us what the business is called.
I'm the Purry Godmother.
Of course. Give us a bit of a background then. I know you studied like animal nutrition, etc., and I guess you've got a real passion for animals. How did that all start?
I wanted to be a vet initially, actually. So I did all the A-levels I needed, applied for loads of different animal degrees, and found myself in Northampton studying applied animal studies, just trying to find a way to work with animals that fit around myself and my daughter. And so I decided on pet sitting.
But it isn't just pet sitting, is it? Yeah. I mean, this is a whole service for people who perhaps go on holiday or off on a business trip. Describe what goes on when you turn up at their house.
So the first thing I do when I arrive is I make sure everything looks secure still. If it's the first visit particularly, I'll go in, make sure the cats are all happy, there's no sign of too much mess or anything that the cats have made or anything else. Then, of course, I'll spend time feeding and playing with the cats, cuddling them. So if it's an evening visit, for example, I'll be switching lights on, I'll go and close some curtains. I make doubly sure that I've locked the door properly on my way out. Generally make it look like there is still someone at home.
So, I mean, obviously, if the owner goes away on holiday or a business trip, it can be quite stressful for the pets, can't it? I would imagine.
I do have quite a few cats that get separation anxiety and depression. They go off their food. So I spend as much time with them, just reassuring them, cuddling them.
So the cats must love you when you turn up.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, their tails go up. They're making all their purring and trilling noises. They're excited. It's really lovely.
So what the householders are getting essentially is a double whammy, aren't they? They're getting a house sitter effectively. Well, not full time, but a house checker, if you like, checking that all the house looks secure while they're away, but also someone who's going to look after their pets in a passionate and professional way. And I suppose you can also use your experience perhaps to spot any ailments they might have.
Yeah, definitely. In my degree, I looked at a lot of the diagnostic tools that vets use. I looked at a lot of typical ailments that can be seen in cats as well as other species. So I'm quite clued up at helping spot the early signs.
I suppose cats, as opposed to dogs, they're quite independent sometimes, aren't they? But do you find once you've been there a few times, they obviously get to know you and they, wow, Sophie's here.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. Quite a few shy cats are a lot more comfortable with me being there. They start coming to greet me when I arrive, and they're much happier to spend time around me and cuddling and playing. And then the more confident cats do tend to spend more time playing and cuddling with me when I'm there. They don't just run off after they've ate their food.
And have you got any real success stories where you've turned cats around from being really shy?
Oh, yeah, I've got quite a few under my belt now. I'm really proud of myself. The most recent is Gandalf. He is quite a new client. I started working with him last year, and he would just hide outside the house every time I would visit. On my most recent booking with them, he, after I think it was about the third day, he decided to stay inside the home while I'm putting food down. And then after that, he would be glued to my side the whole time, trying to trip me up everywhere.
So he really trusted you after a while.
Definitely, yeah.
And you cover quite a wide area, it seems.
Yes.
So South Bucks and sort of Rickmansworth, Beaconsfield, Ivor, and then Hillingdon, North Hillingdon. So where can people find out more information about the Purry Godmother?
You can find me at www.thepurrygodmother.co.uk. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
It's often about creating a community, isn't it, with these things?
Yes.
And you become the sort of the wise person that everybody starts to know. Ask her, because she'll know the answer to that question. And after a while, people think, right, Sophie is the cat person, so we'll give her a call. Fantastic. As I say, I love hearing about niche businesses. Thanks for coming in, telling us about Purry Godmother, Sophie. That's fantastic. Now, have you ever thought about fostering? Obviously an amazing thing to do, a huge commitment, but I suspect hugely rewarding. We're going to find out more about fostering in Hillingdon next. So we're joined in the studio by Emma Kavanagh, who has possibly the longest title I've seen for a while, which is Head of Service for Corporate Parenting, Fostering and Psychological Services. And we're chatting about fostering. Hello, Emma.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. Now, Foster Care Fortnight's happening from the 15th to 28th of May, where we're raising awareness of fostering nationally. All kinds of events going on. But we want to raise awareness with fostering locally as well in the Hillingdon Borough. So you've popped on to tell us a bit about fostering, how people can get into fostering and what the procedure is. First of all, Emma, how many children in the borough are classed as looked after children?
So we currently have around 360 looked after children in the borough. So that's children from any age 0 to 18 that require care and support from Hillingdon Local Authority. And then some of those children may be in children's home as well as foster placements.
Now, I suppose there's all kinds of reasons why children might end up being fostered. What's the common reasons? I'm sure there's some very sad reasons as part of those, but what's the common reasons?
Being a port authority, so we have Heathrow within the borough, the highest number of children that we have that need a foster placement are those that are unaccompanied asylum-seeking children. So we have quite a high number of children that have come into the country from war-torn countries or fleeing persecution that are in need of a foster placement in order to sort of look after them and keep them safe. Other reasons that children might need a foster placement is, if it's not safe for them to be able to remain at home, or for other reasons like loss of parents or other kind of more sad reasons such as that.
So what's the process for becoming a foster parent? I'm sure it's very involved. What's the starting point for that?
So if you're interested in fostering for Hillingdon, I would urge you to go to our website. So that's hillingdon.gov.uk/fostering. There's lots of information on there. On there, you'll also find information about our information sessions that happen once a month. Now, we do those both in person and online, so you can come along and find out just what it means to foster for Hillingdon and what's involved. We can take your expression of interest, and then we have somebody who will support you every step of the way. So, taking your expression of interest, giving you more information. We offer you skills to foster courses to give you some real knowledge and case studies and examples of just what it means to be a foster carer, what you can expect, what's expected of you. And then you'll go through a fostering assessment as well. So there'll be questions asked of you that you'll meet with a social worker to answer, some references, some police checks, things like that. And then at the end of that process, which on average can take sort of 3 to 4 months, at the end of that process, you will hopefully be approved as a foster carer, and then you'll be able to start taking placements of children.
And is there some element of choice in the children that you can take? I imagine you match culturally.
So when you're going through your expression of interest and your approval to become a foster carer, within that assessment process, you will talk at length with your social worker around the type of child that you might like to foster, ages, specific needs, or whether that might be a child with additional needs or a child who, as I've already mentioned, is an unaccompanied asylum-seeking child. And like I say, that's all ages 0 to 18. So you'll discuss all those things and what that might entail, and you'll be able to make a really informed decision about the type of placement that you think you'd be able to offer to our children.
I imagine, it's obviously it's an incredible thing to do, to take someone into your family and make them part of your family home. Do you get any feedback when people have been through a foster family and become, adults?
Absolutely. Most recently, I've been speaking to one of our, what we would call a care experienced young person. So he's a young man that has been placed with one of our foster carers, and he's now in his early 20s. He's still in the foster placement with his previous foster carers, but he's there under an arrangement of his own because he's now an adult. And he talks at length about what a difference it made, how rewarding it was for him, how he was able to develop meaningful relationships and really feel like this is his family. He also speaks really fondly of how other young people who have since turned 18 but used to be fostered in the same house come back for family Sunday dinner, just like all of us with our own families, this real sense of being part of a family, and even though he's now not a child anymore, it's something that is so important to him, and he had the best experience.
And I suppose there's a question that everybody asks is there any funding available if you take on a foster child?
So there's lots of support for our foster carers in Hillingdon. There is financial support. So there is a fostering allowance for being a foster carer that is paid to you when you have a child in your home. There is also not just the financial support, but there is, as I've already mentioned, the access to training and that type of support to help you really understand not only your role, but how you can meet the needs of that child that is placed to you. You have the one-to-one support from your own social worker who supports not only you, but your family, whether you have birth children, your own children in the family home, that real sense of one-to-one support for you. You'll have an annual review as a foster carer, which is a chance to look at your growth over the year and all the wonderful things you've been able to do with the children and the support that you've been able to provide. And then there's peer support. So our foster carers are really great at supporting each other. They meet informally, but we also have allocated peer support for new foster carers. We have monthly support groups, and we put on lots of activities and appreciation events because we really do value our foster carers and what they do for our children here in the borough. If you're interested in hearing anything about fostering, even if you're not sure, please do get in touch. As we've already said, there's the information on the website. We have the sessions once a month where we'd love to see you and speak to you. And do join us for Foster Care Fortnight. There's a lot going on. That can also be found on the website, and any involvement or appreciation to fostering, or indeed your expression of interest, we really love to hear from you.
Well, if you think you can be a foster parent, as Emma has said, head to hillingdon.gov.uk/fostering. That's the starting point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's do our regular rundown of what's going on in the local area over the next month or so. We had a note through from Church Gardens, the amazing garden in Harefield by the church. If you haven't been and you're even the tiniest bit interested in gardening, then you must go. The garden is open Sundays 1 till 5 through until October, and there's now a tea room. You can book tickets online at churchgardens.co.uk, and they also now have a membership plan available. There's a one-off guided tour day on Saturday the 20th of May at 11 a.m. when Kay, the owner and gardener, will take you on a tour. Tickets must be pre-booked for that one. Fancy learning the basics of Photoshop and Illustrator? Well, local creative Intra Russell is running a free session at Uxbridge Library on May 24th at 3:30. Register your interest at studioinku.co.uk studioinku@gmail.com. That's studioinku@gmail.com. 13th and 14th of May, Ruislip Lido Railway have a gala weekend. They're opening the doors for a behind-the-scenes look at how it all works. All the locomotives will be on display in the yard for children and adults to sit in. Check out ruisliplidorailway.org/events. Comedy on Friday the 12th of May at Uxbridge Golf Club. With the Comedy Bunker, you'll find Johnny Awesome, Rob Kemp, Sonia Aste with MC Mark Cran. Head to comedybunker.co.uk. Music at the Tropic of Ruislip. There's a classic rock revival on the 19th of May, Creedence Clearwater Review on the 26th of May, and the Book of Genesis on the 2nd of June. If you fancy watching a TV show being filmed at Pinewood Studios, head to sroaudiences.com. You could watch Junior Taskmaster, or Would I Lie to You? And finally, Denim Car Boot Sale is now every Saturday. Sellers from 7am, £15. Buyers from 8am, £3. Free parking available. Please use the free car park and don't park on the road. That's it from us this month. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do get in touch. If you want to email us, we are studio@uxbridgefm.co.uk. We're on all the usual socials. We're just Uxbridge FM. Take care. Catch you next month.